we always forget kind of where we started and where we could go and what we could do. And I really just appreciated like the little snippet again of like the quote that you shared, but also like knowing you from previous life of being a coworker together. But for me, it was so interesting when you did quote that when you found Canada, that you found yourself. And I'm really curious if you're able to share more about that and how Canada spoke to you like that.
Well, that's a huge question and a really good question.
We have time. We have time.
uh, I would say so me and Victor recently figured it out that we do have a lot of common connections around it. So one of my love of moving to Canada got inspired, I would say, 10 years back. So I was involved with ISEC community in India, where we had students from international organizations coming for the internship. By then, I had no understanding about like having my life in a different continent. I never thought about it. I would say that environment, that 3 years environment, shaped everything around me. I I I I didn't feel that I had the right I would say the the environment that I was looking for in India. So I was craving to carve that meaningful connection, that social cultural impact that I wanted to do it. And with everything happening around it, I figured it out that Canada would work the best for me, considering the immigration processes, the points, and the countries around it. So I did had a couple of shortlists, but the Canada calling was always there, and it was not an overnight process. So um, I I was not sure that I should apply for it, but then one of my colleague back in India applied and went there, and we just like, why don't you try? So it just started with the process of making that first move, that try process, and then just taking it from there. So for me, I would say that I did receive a couple of roadblocks on the process because of the points of the age process, but then I always manifested it. That was the big part of moving here. I still remember I used to have, you will laugh about it, but I used to still used to have at that point map of Canada in my bedroom, and I used to look at it and I used to see what are the places. So Calgary was never in my radar. So it was always Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver.
Right.
I never heard about Calgary
Hmm.
at
Which
that point.
I don't blame you. They're great cities.
But I feel so fortunate of coming here to Calgary, and then I would say that Calgary brought me here. I never thought I'll come to Calgary, but then Calgary just like brought me here. And if I if I look back, if I see, I'm gonna read a quote from my book that I truly really believe on. It is written by Charles. It says that, can you remember who you were before the world started telling you who you should be?
Huh. Hmm.
Mm.
And it just became so deep in me. And I realized that when I was writing my story, when I was doing the literature, is it was so much powerful at that point that I didn't till now, until unless I started receiving feedback from people. I never believed that I was at a position to inspire or put some courage out there to women immigrants out there. But then, if I'm able to impact just one life at a time, my job is done. That was one of the goals when we started this book project. There are sometimes there are stories that you never share, and when you're given a chance to share the stories, it just becomes so raw and vulnerable out there, and the emotions and the turbulence that we go through in the process is it was very courageous. It was a couple of months of a process, but I commend to all the authors who came out there and who shared their journey.